Good day, everybody. I'm Sergeant Joe Carty from Peel Regional Police, and today we have a special guest, Constable. It's going to be hard for me to pronounce this, with my French heritage. Frouke Antuma?
Yeah.
Have I got that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's good about you've been an officer for 10 years. You started at 22 Division. You also were part of the school resource officer, which we'll get in later. It's a nice, good topic. And you work at 22 Division, and you're a coach officer. Am I correct?
Yes, I coached before I was a school resource officer, but I still fill in now.
And you're at 22 Division now, frontline?
Yes.
Okay, and the main reason we're going to have you here is not just to talk about your police work, because you're a very active volunteer in both the local and international community. And you focus on mentoring youth and helping people who are less fortunate. And I think it's a great story, and today we're going to tell that story. So thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
How we got you here is because I first learned, I'm meeting you is today, and that's why I'm having trouble pronouncing your name, is because we were informed that you received an O.W.L.E award. And an O.W.L.E award, for the people who don't understand, it stands for Ontario Women in Law Enforcement. Now, you're the winner of this award.
Yes.
Could you please tell me about that?
So basically, I was nominated by Staff Sergeant Karen Meeker. She was my immediate supervisor when I was a school resource officer, and she, I think through me asking for time off and things like that, realized how much volunteer work I was involved in and submitted a nomination on my behalf.
Okay, so this nomination, this O.W.L.E award for women in policing, is because of all your volunteer work?
Yes.
Well, before we go there, I'm sensing a slight accent from you. And you're not French like I am from the Belle Province.
No, I'm from the Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Yes.
Holland.
Yes.
Am I allowed to say Holland, or is that a nickname they don't like?
No, well, we'll let you go with it.
Okay, I'll call it the Netherlands. I got to be on time here and do it right. So you're from the Netherlands. Well, the question I guarantee before we get into this is, why would you come to Canada? It's a great country. Then again, Canada is too. Let's hear your story.
Yeah, so it is a great country, and it wasn't really my choice to move, but my parents wanted to be dairy farmers, so they looked into coming to North America and settled here in Canada.
Did you, how old were you?
I was 12.
Did you speak English?
No, I didn't.
Did you want to come?
No, I didn't. So at the time, I didn't really want to come here. And so when we did move, obviously, I had a big learning curve, having to learn a new language and start over in a new country. But here we are.
Did you want to become a dairy farmer like your parents?
No, not really.
I have to admit, for them to come to Canada to become dairy farmers is, I have never heard a story like that. It's a great story. Are they dairy farmers in Canada today?
Yes, they are.
In Ontario, I'm assuming?
Yeah, up in Owen Sound.
So that means when you came here, you lived in Owen Sound?
Yes.
And you always wanted to be a police officer, or did you want to be a dairy farmer like your folks?
No, I did not want to be a dairy farmer. Basically, what happened is I wanted to, I was working at the Dutch store, naturally. I ended up having somebody bring in an article saying that the college was looking for police foundation students, and that's when I went to the college and looked into what it was, and it sounded interesting to me, and that's how I kind of got the story rolling of my policing career.
Did that make your parents exciting or disappointed because you're not working on the farm with them?
No, they let us decide for ourselves what we wanted to do, so they were okay with it.
I think I'm off topic right now. I think what you really came here is for your awards and what you're doing for the community. Let's go back to that. I went off topic because I think your story is remarkable, actually, hearing it. And that's I'm happy that you told us that. The O.W.L.E award for Ontario Women in Law Enforcement, you won that. That's a very big award. You won it because, well, let's go with it. Why?
So I think that a few years ago, when our former chief, Jennifer Evans, sent out an email asking what volunteer work we did, I think that's when it came out more that I was doing a lot of volunteer work. And then when they realized, like, my immediate coworkers and supervisors know that when I take my time off, my vacation time, a lot of that time is spent volunteering. I book my time around trips that I do. And when that came about is when they decided to nominate me for the award. So for me, it's just something that I do. I spend a lot of my time volunteering. I like doing that. And at this point, I got awarded for it. And that's why we're here.
Okay, so you win the award. That's basically the award that encourages, promotes, and events women in law enforcement because of your volunteer work. So let's go into that. Like you were saying that you travel to volunteer?
Yeah, so basically the way I got involved in it is there's a committee through my church called Faith Works. It's part of the Canadian Reformed World Relief Fund, and that's being supported by the church community that I'm a part of. So Faith Works put in an application to the church community saying they were looking for applicants for a volunteer trip, specifically one to Mexico. And I signed up and interviewed for that and was selected to be part of the team. And that's basically how it started. And since my first trip there, I've been it's been incredible. So I loved it and I wanted to go back and keep doing this.
Well, what did you do in Mexico?
So in Mexico, there's an orphanage that the Faith Works Committee was partnering with. And basically, it's an organization that gets funded by Children of Hope, which is a lot of funds coming from the organization is in BC. That's where a lot of their funds come from. So what they do is they invite teams to go down. We raise money for construction projects and things that need to be done at the orphanage. So the people that apply to the trip, they volunteer their time, but they also raise the money to be able to go. And then when we're down there, we basically work on the projects that are selected by the director. But he also wants us to be involved with like the kids that are there, and we spend a lot of time with them when they're not in school. And it's just an incredibly rewarding experience. So we do anything from like painting to construction type work, and it's really whatever they need us.
That's amazing. Have you gone to any other countries and volunteered your time?
I also went to Kentucky in the States, and it's a little bit different there. They end up, we have a long-standing, the Faith Works Committee has a long-standing relationship with the MCC that's down there. It's a Mennonite Central Committee. We've been going down for, I want to say, 25 years or so, and they end up looking for teams to go down as well, and we'd go and do construction project on people's homes there. There's a lot of poverty because of the Appalachian Mountains community. There was a lot of coal mining and stuff that obviously isn't as popular anymore, but a lot of poverty in the area. So we've been helping with some of the construction on people's homes. So it's a little different in a sense that we don't get to know the people the same, but I work a lot closer with the volunteers there, and we have a group of 25-ish people usually going down, and a lot of them are teenagers.
Where do you find the time to do all this? Like this is your personal time, like your vacation?
Yeah, so when I book my time off work, now working shift work, obviously some of the extra days we have off in between, to add a few extra days, we'll give a week's time to be able to go. But yeah, I book a lot of my own vacation and time off in order to do these things.
So when you're not on vacation, because now I'm finding out you're spending your vacation volunteering, which is remarkable. When you're not on vacation and working here in Peel, are you volunteering also with organizations here?
Yeah, so one of the things that came up, actually while I was down in Mexico, we also talk about like culture and things like that. And one of the things that came up is like, you know, we go to another country to help people here, but what are we doing in our own communities? So that struck me, obviously wanting to also help here more than just with my job. I looked into volunteering for the food bank, so that's where I am. I work help with the local food bank. And there's a couple of like summer camps I've been a part of, so I've done that as well.
Well, what do you do with the food bank?
So basically, we when the food bank services clients, then they need volunteers to be in the building to help facilitate that. So that's what I've been doing. So it's also shifts. They work it around my own shift schedule, and yeah.
So if I'm a member of our community, and I want, which I am, and I want to work for the food bank, how would I go about? Well, volunteer my time for the food, but how would I go about doing it so I could work with you and help you with this?
Yeah, so I reached out to the director of the food bank, and at the time they had applications available, so I also applied there and interviewed with them, and then was selected as part of the staff, I guess, to be part of helping. It depends on how many volunteers that they have and need. Sometimes there's this is a good thing, sometimes there's a wait list for volunteers that want to be part of helping at the food bank, and they don't have the space to let them in at that point. But that's a good problem to have.
So I guess the best solution, if you want to be a volunteer, is to look online to the charity you want to volunteer and offer your services.
Yeah, there's so many different opportunities, so many different volunteer opportunities available. And it's really what suits your own interest in terms of how you want to help. And I recommend you looking into, finding out what you can do to get there.
And you briefly mentioned a camp, which what did you do when you worked with the camps?
So there's two different camps. One of them is called Anchor Camp, and it's a camp for people with disabilities. So basically, both these camps also are through my church community that I'm made aware of through them. And the Anchor Camp is basically a 2-week summer camp where they have people that have disabilities are invited to come to this camp. It's to give their primary caregivers a bit of a break as well. So each camper is assigned a volunteer to basically help along with them, and it's one-on-one, so you're in charge of whoever it is that is your camper, and then you go through and spend activities with them. The disabilities vary significantly, so some are less involved with some of the activities than others, but we do our best to make it a good experience for everybody. And there's a pool there and things like that, so it's great. They love it.
It sounds like you spend a lot of time volunteering, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good. Did you find being an officer helped you getting all these contacts to volunteer, or did it make it more difficult?
So a lot of these volunteer opportunities came up through my own church community, so that's not really work related in that sense. But the great thing about Peel Police is the fact that with the money that we make and the times that we have that we can take off, I have had more opportunity to do some more of the volunteer work that I wouldn't necessarily have with a regular work week schedule. So that's been great.
What has been the most rewarding part about working with the youth? Like all your volunteering, working with all these young people?
So the great thing for me is, well, they keep me young. But the other part is that I find there's two aspects to it. When they find out that I work for the police, it's one of the ones that either put me on a pedestal and think it's the greatest thing, or they're reluctant because they may not have had good dealings with police, or they just have that natural tendency not to trust the police. So it really depends in that sense on who they are. But one of the things I would like to say to them is, if you don't believe everything you hear about the police, I won't believe everything I hear about teenagers. Because that's one of the things. They are our future generation, but they're not always, they don't always have supportive adults around them. And I want to be on the other side of that, where I'm supportive and listen to their story and, work through their struggles, because being a teenager is not easy.
You're definitely right there. Has this work impacted you or changed who you are?
No, not necessarily. I think that it just helps keep me honest. Truthfully, I do a lot of this, like extra work and service is, I feel incredibly blessed in my own life, And as I mentioned, it's through the church community. So I believe that God's blessed me a lot in this stuff, and this is my way to give back and give thanks for that.
It's interesting. I like the way you said that. Who is your mentor? Who do you look up to, and the reason why all this took place, the way you're assisting the community, the way you're helping people? Or is it just who you are, or is it someone that you like to look up to and go, hey, I want to be like them?
Yeah, no, I don't have a specific person, but I think that within our church community, I feel that we do well looking after the people that are in need, and I like to extend that to the broader community. And in a very me-centered world, I like to change it and also, be there for other people as opposed to just trying to get ahead ourselves all the time.
Well, I have to congratulate you on your work, your volunteer. It takes not a big person. It takes a very kind person with a big heart to put all their hours and the time that you put in, because it sounds like you're putting a lot of hours in, and I know you are. And for you to get the O.W.L.E award is quite impressive. And I also know that you have another award, the IAWP.
Yes.
What does that stand for?
International Association of Women in Policing.
And what happened there? Tell us that one.
So basically, as part of winning the O.W.L.E award, to win that, you automatically get nominated for the Community Service Award in the International Association of Women in Policing. When they received my nomination, I also was selected by their agency to win the award. So it's based on the same nomination, the same work that I've done. They're recognizing me internationally.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Now, it sounds like you worked with a lot of youth. And where I'm going with this is going to be a little hot topic for police officers. I said in the beginning you worked as an SRO, which is a school resource officer. Did you enjoy working in the schools?
Yes, I actually really liked it.
Okay, now the reason why this is a hot topic, I can see your face across this table, is that we, this year, 2020, we canceled our program.
Yes.
With working with the stakeholders of the communities, they thought it'd be best not to go having officers in schools. You being a mentor to these youth, what's your thoughts about the program? Should the program continue in the future? Should we cancel it? I know it's just your views. It's not Peel Regional Police's views. It's not the community's. This is your view.
Yeah.
What do you think? What would you do if you were the powers to be?
Yeah, and so I'm disappointed that it's been canceled. I think that we actually had a lot of good impact with the youth in the schools, and that's being disregarded for, concerns that they have about systemic racism. And I'm aware that obviously is also a thing that needs to be addressed, and I just don't think that canceling our school program is the solution to that. So basically, when I was in the school resource officer position, I was assigned a unique set of locations, including the suspension site, expulsion site, teen mom programs. And so what's a little bit different about that is it's not just a giant school. They're smaller settings, they're smaller locations with more staff members. And to be fair, some of those students were not appreciative of the police and what they do. Some because they've been in trouble with the law. Some of them are just on that bandwagon of, we don't trust the police. And it actually gave a really unique opportunity for me to get through to them as well, and for them to realize that we are also people. Yes, we have a job to do, but at the same time, we're also, members of our own communities. And for me to be able to build relationships with some of the students that would never have even said hi to their school resource officer if they were in the regular school system. It was a unique opportunity, and I appreciated that.
But what about the thought about you're an officer? Your job is to be in the community, do community policing. If you see a crime, enforce it. Not enforce it, but you know what I mean. That you are the protector of the community. The schools are run by teachers, principals, social workers. what you just provided, which was amazing, shouldn't that be onus on them, or should it be on the onus of the policing to assist them? That's where I'm in the middle here. I'm trying to figure out, and I sense that you had a lot of students that you probably mentored.
Yeah, so there is two sides to that. When you do have some enforcement that needs to be taken care of, because it's inevitable that there's also going to be some crime. What was great about being the regular officer at the school is that you could build a relationship also with the administrators, and you could, push back to some extent on, like, this should not be a police issue, and to have them address it on their own. Whereas now the decision's being made to, okay, once it's reported, that's it. Like, they have their reporting protocols, but instead of the same officer going, it's going to go to someone who doesn't necessarily understand the dynamics of the school and the different relationships that are going on between, groups of people. And that's a downside, because there was a benefit to us knowing, and there's also a benefit to us being available for students to ask questions, about the law specifically, and that's now not available to them.
You do bring up some valid points. Obviously, these type of philosophies are way above us. People are probably still debating this. Maybe we'll be back in the schools one day. Maybe we won't. That's not for us. Maybe if we get promoted one day, or if you get promoted to the high levels, that you could argue for this, because it sounds like you want police back in schools.
Yeah, I think it does give us an opportunity to, reach the future generation, and it's less about enforcement there and more about education. And sure, it's something that you can leave to teachers, but we're the experts at what we do. So when we come into classrooms and do presentations about, the law and things like that, I think it just gets received differently, and we don't have that opportunity now to, pass that on.
And you're no longer a school resource officer, because that's gone in Peel.
Yeah.
You're frontline right now.
Yes.
And you mentioned to me that you coach. Is that something similar to mentoring youth? I guess you're mentoring younger officers?
Well, age isn't really a factor when it comes to, people starting. So I wouldn't say it's the same as mentoring youth. But yeah, it's the level of experience that you're then mentoring the people that are newer. So I was a coach officer mainly before I got into the school resource officer program, and then coming back to the road, I've now filled in. And I still try to be available to the more junior officers, based on having some more experience and things like that. I always make myself available for questions and to help out.
It sounds like you have a very busy life. You must have a lot of energy. Do you drink a lot of coffee?
Not a lot, but yes, I definitely drink coffee.
On duty, is it like a Starbucks, a Tim Hortons? Do you go to McDonald's? Do you go to the A&W? Because coffee culture, I love that one too. I'm a coffee snob, I'll have to admit. I drink too much. And it sounds like you're on the same boat. What's your favorite coffee?
No, it's my own home brew. That's my favorite.
Your home brew?
Yes.
So when you're on duty cruising around the front line, you don't stop off at one of these great establishments and have a delicious espresso? No,
not usually. So if I do need another coffee in my shift, I will probably splurge and go to Starbucks. But no, nothing beats my own home brew that I make in the morning and then drive on the way into work.
Are you suggesting after policing you open a coffee shop and try and tempt people with your own home brew?
No, I'll be too busy volunteering.
Okay, good answer. This is a question I've been asking a lot of people, and I'm surprised with some of the answers, and it makes me chuckle, and it might catch you on the spot here. What is your favorite cop movie, police movie, or police TV show? I get a wide range of answers, and I always love hearing where they go with this.
So, yeah, that is a funny question. I really appreciate the Police Academy movies.
The Police Academy?
Yes.
The Police Academy movies?
Yes.
If I'm letting you, here's the chance to pick any, and that's the one you're picking?
I know, because it's so funny.
Okay, Police Academy. That's the first. I think on my podcast, I'm going to be asking that question to everybody, because I'm getting a wide range of answers, and you're the first person to say Police Academy. I'm going to put you on the spot then. Since you picked the movie, how about your TV show? That is on the spot.
It is on the spot.
I'll give you mine. And it's not really a police one. I liked Murder, She Wrote. Even though she was a detective back in the 80s, it's more of...
I haven't seen that one.
It's for us older generation would get it. Well, I just want to say it was amazing hearing your story. The amount of work you do on your own vacation, on your own time off, what you do for the community when you're working. It's quite remarkable what you do, and I'm really happy that you won these awards. You deserve it, and the way you volunteer your time is exactly what policing needs. People that get in contact with the community and help them, because in the end, policing is all about your community. And how do you get a strong community? Is with policing and community working together makes a better police service, and you're on the right track. We need more people in Peel like you. And I just want to thank you for coming here today, because what you're doing is remarkable, and I guarantee you Peel is proud to have you working with us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.